Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. How are we doing today, guys?
We're good, doing good. TNT looked good last night, didn't Skip?
Is that all we're going to talk about? The Fakers were at it again last night, weren't they? Oh, get well soon, Lagon. We need you. Please come help save
Help
us.
is on the way.
Is it? Friday night? Is that your inside info? We got Lagon back on Friday night?
Maybe.
Help is on the way. I do like when you say it like that.
Make you wait till Sunday.
Good.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Well, LeBron is still not there, and that means the Lakers right now, well, they're missing him a little bit. The LeBron-less Lakers were handed a 109-102 loss last night to the defending champion Bucks. Giannis scored 47 points, while Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook were held to 37 points combined. King James could reportedly return tomorrow against the Celtics, which is good since the team is 3-5 since he's been out with that abdominal injury. So, Shannon, why haven't the Lakers been able to win without LeBron?
I got two reasons. The first reason, Skip, because nobody's had a greater impact on winning than one LeBron James. In the history of basketball, we've seen teams. We saw the Chicago Bulls, without Michael Jordan, become a bad Hugh Hollins call away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. We see LeBron James leave Cleveland, and they're in the lottery getting the top 1 or 2 pick for the entire time that he's in Miami. We see him leave Miami, and we see what happened to them. We see when he's with the Lakers, they're a top 5 team when he plays. They're a bottom 5 when he isn't.
Well, wait a second. LeBron has 6 losses in the finals. That same guy, is that what we're talking about?
I want you to say that again. He has 6 losses where?
In the finals,
So how do you
including
get
getting swept by the San Antonio Spurs.
To the finals?
How do you get swept by the Spurs when you are the best player on the planet? Well, I'm just asking. I want to make sure we're talking about the same guy.
So what do you have to do in the regular season to get to the finals? Since you interrupted, go ahead.
You cakewalk through the East.
Oh, now it's a cakewalk. So how did he get to the finals in the West? Oh, it's always an excuse. Oh, it was a pandemic.
Bubble.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The second reason is because if Anthony Davis is a top 10 player when LeBron is there, that is good enough to win you a lot of games. Possibly get you to the finals, maybe win the finals. When LeBron isn't there, Anthony Davis needs to be a top 5 player, not just a top 5 talent. And far too many times we see games like last night, 18-9, 22-8 against Minnesota, 20-6 and gets ejected against Chicago. We don't see enough games like we saw against Charlotte, 32-12, against San Antonio, 34-15. Remember last year, he dominated in the regular season. He dominated DeAndre Ayton. We saw him put up that monster game against Nikola Jokic against Denver. We don't see enough of those games. You see the difference? The difference between Anthony Davis and Giannis Antetokounmpo is one thing, mindset. Giannis says, I'm going to the rim come hell or high water. He's going to the rim. You can't tell me, nobody can tell me that Giannis is a more skilled, a more talented player than Anthony Davis. He doesn't shoot the three. He turned himself into was shooting the 3 good last night, Skip. Shot the free throw pretty good last night, Skip. But you go 18-20.
You're talking about Russ, right?
No, I'm talking about Giannis.
Oh, Giannis. I'm sorry. I thought you went to Russ.
No, I'm saying you can't tell me.
No, he did. Yes, he did. He had a huge. He scored 47 points.
That's my point. I'm saying you can't tell me Anthony Davis shouldn't be able to do that. It's his mindset.
I totally agree.
So far too many times we talk about Anthony Davis as a top 5 talent, but he doesn't play like that. And when you have LeBron, Skip, you can be a top 10 player, and with LeBron being as great as he is, you can win games. But when you remove one of those, that top 5 talent needs to be a top 5 player. And far too many times, we don't see Anthony Davis do that. Shaq would go out. Kobe, being Kobe, would be a top 5 player. They would win games. Vice versa. We don't see that enough from Anthony Davis. We saw what he was doing. I need that Anthony Davis. That was in New Orleans. And everybody's talking about he's this, he's that. He's giving you 28 and 12 on a nightly basis. I need to see that AD more times than not when LeBron is not there. Then you can win these games. Skip, this is unacceptable. 18 and 9. You can't have Giannis outscore your two superstars by himself. That cannot happen.
True.
And far too many times we're seeing this happen where the opposing team's best player outdoes AD.
Yep.
Well, when LeBron leaves, the whole thing about getting AD, Skip, was the transition. LeBron is getting on up there in age. You're 17, you're 18, you're 19, you're 20. Okay, this is AD's opportunity that says, okay, we're in good hands. I don't see that enough, Skip, and that's the problem. AD is a top 10 player that has top 5 talent, but when you remove one LeBron James, he doesn't play like a top 5 player, and that's what needs to happen when LeBron isn't there. So, yes, we can't minimize LeBron's impact because we've seen it wherever he's gone, from Cleveland to Miami, from Miami back to Cleveland, Cleveland to L.A. We see a dip when he's not there or when he leaves. But AD, you got to be that guy. And I don't see you being that guy nearly enough when LeBron isn't there.
I agree. So I'm going to go slightly bigger picture to start with. And
you
I'm going
finally
to say,
agree with something I said?
I thought you made some actually shockingly valid points. I don't know what got into you. I don't know what you had for breakfast, but...
Le Portier.
Did you? Okay.
Don't tell nobody. Don't
All right.
Between me and you.
Okay, good. Big picture. The biggest surprise of the NBA season so far to me, I'll go all the way to the biggest shock, is that your Lakers are only 8-8 after playing 12 of their first 16 games at home.
Easy schedule says.
At home. And I realize your man, LeBron, has played only 6 of those 16, and they went 4-2 in those games. But still, I look at this box score this morning. At Bucks, remember, Bucks for only the third time all year they had their quote-unquote big three together last night because Middleton came off the COVID list and Drew Holiday is still banged up, but he's trying to go. And obviously Giannis went last night for 47 points, his biggest showing since the finals. Because they have struggled all year. And remember, they do not have Brook Lopez and they do not yet have DiVincenzo back from his ankle injury, and so they're struggling because they can't find themselves because they just haven't been whole yet.
Correct.
Okay, so we get all that, but I'm looking at this box score and I'm saying, okay, wait a second. Russell Westbrook is a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer. Anthony Davis is a no ballot Hall of Famer. He will be whisked in when it's finally over.
Skip, the man made the top 75 of all time.
I got it. And right now, I think most people would rank him probably top 5, at least top 7 or 8 players in the league. I'm going to go top 5. Most GMs, if you took a poll, they would put him in the top 5.
10. I don't know if they're going to give him top 5 with the way he's played this year.
But
he's a top 10 player.
Okay, going into this year, they would have put him in the top 5.
How about this? He's a top 10 player with top 5 talent.
Okay. Carmelo has had a rebirth at Staples, especially at home as opposed to on the road, but a rebirth as a Laker, and he is another, dare I say, slam dunk Hall of Famer, right? And then down on the bench, I will not be shocked if Rondo makes the Hall of Fame, and I'm pretty sure Dwight will, and you're a bigger Dwight fan than I am, but you just think he belongs in the Hall of Fame because you thought he belonged in the top 75 of all time.
He absolutely belonged.
Okay, so he barely played last night, and Rondo played a little and did a lot, actually, in the little that he played. But my point is, I just gave you star-studded. Now I'm going to get to the guts of my point. The crux of my point is LeBron James, I always say highest IQ in basketball, handpicked Anthony Davis. Did he not?
Yeah.
And he moved heaven and Clutch Sports Earth to maneuver him out of New Orleans to get him to Los Angeles. He's flawed. But LeBron wanted him, so you got to chalk it up. LeBron went out of his way. He basically gave up that whole first year because it was just a nightmare disaster in the locker room because it was clear for about, didn't it go on like 6 months of we're going to get AD. LeBron wants to trade you. Remember that? Okay. To Brandon Ingram.
All the way up to the trade deadline.
All right. So it was all about getting AD. And then, as you have acknowledged and disavowed 20 times on this show, LeBron handpicked Russell Westbrook over Buddy Hield. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wanted Russ, and he wanted AD, and those are the 2 biggest reasons that they're 8-8. So LeBron has to have some GM culpability for this. Just some, because, again, I think he operates as the de facto GM. I think he basically is at least he and Rob Pelinka work together, and I think LeBron has to at least sign off on everything that's going to happen.
Skip, you know how this thing works. You've covered basketball. You know when you got that type level of superstar player, the GM run things by him. So what do you think about this player? Would you like to play with him if we can get this guy?
I got it. So these are LeBron's guys, and the whole idea was he's in year 19. So you need two fallbacks. You need two guys who are still, one is just barely entered his prime, and the other guy's still at the end of his prime, and Russ.
Right.
And you need those two because LeBron's probably, I'm going to knock on wood before I say this, but in year 19 with that high mileage, he's played the third most minutes in the history of basketball. He's probably going to have a nick and a knack and a nick and a knack. He's going to have an ab pull or a groin strain or an ankle or something's going to happen where he's going to miss X number of games this year. So the idea is you got to stay afloat with your two other superstars, right? And Carmelo was icing on the cake, and maybe Dwight and Rondo would be more some cherries on top, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you should be good enough to be better than 8-8 if I give you 12 out of the first 16 at home, and even your road games are San Antonio and Oklahoma City. Go ahead.
Skip, I will concede this, but we're talking about Melo's going to the Hall, Dwight's going to the Hall. But they're not the players that we think of in their prime. They're not the players that that through their play earned the right to go into the Hall. They're different players now. They're very good players. But you mentioned the reason why you got Russ is that when LeBron takes nights off or LeBron is gone for 2 weeks, you have two superstars.
Even if he just load manages a back-to-back, you just need them. That was the whole idea. Because on superstardom, star power, when you take Russ over Buddy Hield, well, sure you would, on marquee value. And so LeBron opted for that over a Buddy Hield who's not viewed as a star.
He's right.
He's off Broadway.
And Russ played well. Skip, I thought Russ played well last night.
You could argue he had his best game last night.
15 assists with 3 turnovers. But what did we need? You can't let Giannis do that, AD. You
can't. And by the way, before I launch on all my other points, I don't know what defenses they were playing in the second half. It actually overall was pretty effective because I'm going to remind you, they went into last night's third quarter with the worst point differential in third quarters in the league. They were getting blown off the floor in the third quarter, and they won the third quarter 30-21. That is progress. That puts you in position to win. The one guy you couldn't consistently stop was obviously that guy, 47 points worth. Again and again, they're playing different zones, and for some reason, AD really wanted no part of head-to-head with Giannis. I kept looking up, and THT at 6 feet 4 inches tall was trying to wrestle with Giannis. Well, what are you going to do? What can you do at 6'4" against that?
We talked about this, Skip. They keep the Lakers until they find a way to defend the pick and roll or the pick and pop, because it was either Giannis, they pick and roll, Giannis rolling to the basket, or the pick and pop with Coddington. Skip, you see last night, Chris Middleton struggling. He's 4 of 12. True Holiday is 3 of 13. So you see these guys struggling. Just don't let Giannis beat you. And Giannis beat you. They got one guy that's really going up. So you know what, Holiday, you've been in and out of the lineup. You nicked up. Let me see what you got.
Okay.
Not Giannis.
Okay, so here's my problem with the Lakers. For once, on the road, and I told you yesterday at the end of the show, I thought they had a good chance to win. I said, I think they can steal this one tonight. Well, they were in position. All through the fourth quarter, they were in position. Guess what your Lakers did from 3 down the stretch? And I'm going to go all the way back into the third quarter.
They were awful from 3.
Would you believe that they missed their last 16 three-pointers, including 11 in the fourth? 16 total, 11 in the fourth. That's hard to do, to go 0 for your last 16. That is obviously a recipe for losing a road game. And if we could just, I hate to torture you with this, but could we just see, I think these are most of their misses. Here we go. I think this starts in the third quarter. Clank. We're going to see them all in a row. That's our man right there, who actually made a couple, but he Westbrooked that one. And somebody's got to make one. There's your man Bazemore. Somebody's got to make one just to break the ice and get some contagion going, right? Somebody's got to. How about Malik Monk? Has he not saved you at home a few times?
And had great looks. These were great looks now.
Okay, that's makeable. right? Not bad. Okay. Somebody's got to make one because you can't miss all 16. That doesn't work. Malik Monk.
Oh, yeah, this was good.
Okay. No, a little wide right. Okay. Somebody's got to, that's TH2. Wasn't it TH2?
No, that's Ellington.
Ellington, that's right. Ellington missed that one.
THT.
There he is. A little short. This is the one where I thought, okay, he's got that one. He shot it with conviction. Okay, somebody, guess who? Melo? Nope. It's hard. I feel like I'm watching this on a loop, but these are all misses in a row, and it's wearing me out just to watch it. It's making me tired.
Yep.
Melo misses. Melo had saved you so many times at home.
And he's struggled the last 5 games, Skip. But Ellington, Monk, and Carmelo was 4 of 22 from the 3. Well, and you get looks like that, Skip, on a night that Milwaukee wasn't playing their best ball other than Giannis. This game, like you said, this game was right there for the taking.
Okay. Now, who is I always say, Giannis is not the closer for the other team. Middleton is. Yeah. And Middleton hasn't been there. And Middleton was supposed to be on a pitch count last night. But Middleton was playing to open the fourth quarter, and he made a couple, and then your man Connaughton made another one that was the dagger. And these are the 3, if we could see them in a row. These are the 3 home team threes, starting with the closer. That was a huge shot because that put them up a point, and then that one put them up 5 points. And then
that's his shot.
And this is Connaughton left open in the corner. And I said, as soon as it left his hand, I said, that is money.
Yeah.
And that broke it open, basically, and they never could quite get over the hump after that. Well, you got to make 1 3 here or there, right?
Well, Skip, if they make any of those threes, because Milwaukee was missing shots also, well, if they can make, say 5 of the ones they missed, this is a different ball game, because now all of a sudden, what was a 1 point or 2 point ball game going back and forth, the Lakers are going to be up probably 10 or 11 points. Okay.
This is where I feel sorry for LeBron James. From my heart, feel sorry. Because their body language in the fourth quarter was, we ain't nothing without LeBron. Like, they're all looking at each other like, well, where's Bron? Bron will help. Where's Bron? Save us, Bron. Yeah. Oh, well, he'll come back Friday. He'll save us Friday. He's in his 19th season. Yeah. Do you wish this upon anybody, let alone year 19 LeBron, to have to feel like the weight of the NBA world is on his shoulders to come back and save this team with 4 other, maybe 5 other potential Hall of Famers?
He's that medicine that if you take it, you're going to be okay. Okay,
but at some point, doesn't AD have enough pride? Doesn't Russ have enough winner's pride? Because as I always say about Russ, there are too many losers' intangibles in there.
Yeah,
because
okay, so you got to just count him.
Stat show, that's all he is. And he looks at the box score at the end of the game and he says, oh, man, I had 15 assists. I'm good tonight. I can sleep good
3
tonight,
turnovers?
right? Yeah, only 3 turnovers. By the way,
started the game with 1.
He started the game with a horrible one. And then at halftime, I looked at the box, and he had 4 turnovers, and I tweeted about it because 4.5 is not cool.
Yeah, because he's on 8 pace.
He's on a pace for 8. Maybe he even threatened that quadruple. But the point was they took one away sometime at halftime. I guess they looked back at it and decided, I don't know which one it was, but they gave him a break. Right. So 3 by his standards looks pretty good because he is still running away. He's #1 in the league in turnovers. He is 83, which is 4 clear of James Harden.
But, Skip, if you think about it, when LeBron is in the lineup, with any teams he's played for, they win 66% of the time. When he's not out of the lineup, they only win 36% of the time. So we see the impact that he has. But it's hard for me to say that he's ever played with a guy more talented in his prime than Anthony Davis.
Well, how many times have we said that on this show?
Now, look, Skip, yeah, he played with Shaq, but when he played with Shaq, Shaq wasn't Shaq.
Agreed.
I do.
In Cleveland, yeah.
I'm going to say Dwayne Wade is a better player. I'm not saying he's more talented than Anthony Davis, but AD needs to have a Skip. I look at it like myself, and maybe I'm not as talented as AD in my sport as AD is in his. But me, I played a position at 228 pounds. DK Metcalf outweighs me. Julio Jones outweighs me. Calvin Johnson outweighed me by damn near 20 pounds.
And all those guys are faster than you.
All those guys are faster than me. But I played a position where I needed to catch the ball like a wide receiver, but sometimes I needed to block like an offensive lineman.
You did.
The difference was my mindset. I said, you're not dominating me today. AD needs to adopt the mindset. I'm a top 5.
Hey,
damn it. Giannis, me and you going head to head.
Okay, you know and I know. More games are won with minds than bodies.
That's
minds
it.
over bodies.
That's
It's
it.
always mind over body, right?
Yes.
They're all talented. They all got high degrees of gift.
What do they do, Skip? What is Giannis? Giannis' first 8 points, what were they? Dunks and layups.
Yeah.
I said, okay, y'all let them get it. You can't let a guy like that see the ball because you're like, oh, man, it's a freeway today. I'm just going to go down the lane. But if I'm AD, every time he make a shot, come here, bring me that ball.
Okay.
I'm going right back at it. Me and you.
All right, so what's the great equalizer in today's basketball? It's the three-point shot.
Yeah.
So what were you the last 2 years, including the bubble year and last year? You were 21st, so you weren't a very good three-point shooting team in percentage.
Right.
Now you're 14th, so you're middle of the package. You're even a little above average.
Right.
Well, that should be good enough that somebody should step up, even without LeBron, and say, well, I got this.
Right.
I can make one.
Right.
Nobody could step up. They kept looking. THT has been a revelation.
Yeah, he's playing unbelievable.
I keep saying he's only 20. He looks like he's 30, and he plays like he's 30.
You can tell he's within the gym this offseason.
Okay, so you got all this firepower, and you still obviously don't have a reason. You don't have Kendrick Nunn. But I'm looking at what you've accomplished. Even with LeBron, you went 4-2. The wins were at home over Memphis, who is now 7-7, and they're pretty good. But that's
right.
Okay. I got you. And then you beat Cleveland at home. They're actually a little bit of a surprise at 9-7. But okay, I'll give you that. And then you beat Houston in back-to-backs at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Thus far, the most impressive win is Miami.
And that was without LeBron.
Yeah.
That's correct. They won in overtime when Tyler Hero missed 2 big shots. At the end of overtime, one to tie and one that could have won the game, right?
Yes.
And then you beat Charlotte, who's, they're having a good year. They're pretty good.
They just beat the 2 best teams in basketball.
They did. They're 9-7 now. So they're just, they eked above 500, but they're decent. They're credible.
Right.
They're a legit basketball team now, and you beat them in overtime at home. So both your 2 statement wins were in overtime at Staples. There's something wrong with this picture. Again, when I think they don't play defense in the second half last night, I thought they did play defense.
They held them to 45 points. Yeah. They played defense.
Right. Well, something is missing because they keep saying, we don't have the big guy. We don't have our guy. Well, he's older now.
Right.
And he's beat up, and I hope he can stay healthy going forward because he better stay healthy or you're going to have some seed issues.
Yeah.
Because you got some rotten seeds you're about to swallow.
Here's the thing. Tom Brady realized I used to be the guy, I could elevate everybody else.
Yep.
Now I need a little bit of help myself. Let me get on down here. Let me get some of these old young guns. Let me get a Mike Evans. Let me get a Chris Godwin. Hey, AB, you available? Come on down here with your boy. So,
old man Gronk, you still got anything left?
Hey. All I need you, give me 3-4 games in the regular season, but I need you for the playoffs. Because I know you money in the playoffs. You know me, I know you. Skip, that sometimes as players get older, Skip, we got to do some of the heavy lifting.
Yep.
And right now, everybody waiting around, bro, do some of that heavy lifting. It's like a boy becoming a man. As you start to become a man, Skip, you have more responsibilities. Okay, AD, you got to take on more responsibility.
Yep. Hey, somewhere in some hotel room in Boston, Massachusetts right now, LeBron is shaking his head saying, I don't know about this. I'm not sure about this.
Man, Skip, I just need eight. You can't tell me AD don't have the ability that Giannis has. I refuse to believe that. I refuse. I've seen the man go get 59 and 20. I saw it with my own eyes.
I hear it. I hear the frustration.
They need you to give him a pregame talk.
A little talk, a little chat.
No mercy.
This Sunday on Fox, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys will have the chance to show how legit they are as they take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said a victory over KC would be a hallmark win. Shannon, did you like this from Jerry, or do you have a problem with it?
I got a problem. So this is what it's come to for your Cowboys. Now, this is what I'm basing it on. From what Jerry and what Stevens and other great Cowboy players that have played there that talk about this team, Cowboy coaches that have coached this team, they compare this team to the 90s Cowboys that won 3 Super Bowls. Now, Skip Bayless, you covered that team. I want you to tell me the game in which Jimmy or Barry Switzer said, of beating a 6-4 team on the road, this would be a hallmark victory.
I can tell you before the NFC Championship game in 1994, after that season, Jimmy called a radio station and guaranteed victory over Steve Young and the 49ers. Guaranteed it. And the Dallas Morning News put it in headlines on Sunday morning, Jimmy guarantees.
So
that was the flip side.
That's the flip side.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Jerry, that's been crowing, and others that have been crowing, that this team, similarities, has talent like the 90s Cowboys Super Bowl winning machine, a hallmark victory would be going on the road and beating a 6-4 football team. Wow.
Okay.
You see what happens is Super Bowls is no longer the standard for the Cowboys. This is what you've come to, Skip Bayless. When you only have 3 playoff wins in 25 years, this is what you've come to. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of your team. You should be ashamed of the people that speak on behalf of this team, that you would have a hallmark victory in Week 11 over a 6-4 team. As a matter of fact, Fox betting and the betting houses don't have a whole lot of respect for you, because it's good if you are what you say you are. Everybody knows Kansas City's struggling this year. They're not the team that represented the AFC in the last 2 Super Bowls. They're not that good, and they still favored over you. Very, very, ooh, my goodness. And Jerry, a hallmark victory. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. America's team. Can you imagine? I wonder if Coach Saban would say, you know what, if we beat Georgia, if we beat Auburn, that's a hallmark victory. No, the standard is national championships. The standard is the standard. Can you imagine Bill Belichick? I wonder if Mr. Kraft, I want to hear Mr. Kraft say one time, if we beat a 6-4 team on the road, that is a hallmark victory for us. You see the difference? When the standard is championships, you don't settle for hallmark. Hallmark is a greeting card. Hallmark is what relatives send to one another, a loved one send to one another, or people that are interested. That's what hallmark is. There are no hallmark victories. You should be ashamed. I'm ashamed for you if you're not.
Okay, my turn. I will admit up front, I have some mixed emotions about this comment from my owner. I will agree with you in the big picture. I just wish my owner would shut up and stay out of the way, because every time he opens his mouth, I have some problem with it somehow. And I definitely have some problem, but not to the degree you have. The flip side of this is that just 2 Sundays ago, my team had the first of 2 home games against some Denver Broncos team that also ran with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. Defense all beat to hell. Coming in with, what's that guy's name who coaches you? I can't even remember.
Vic Fangio. You know
Vic Fangio. Yeah, that's some old
Captain
guy.
Vic.
Yeah, Captain Vic. You know, some Belichick wannabe. And I'm thinking, we got this. And I think I told you sitting right here in this seat, I'm good to go here. I'll go so far as to say this is a done deal. We got this one, right?
You said it was a done deal.
What happened? My team came out incredibly overconfident and got punched right in the kisser, got knocked on its golden tail, and tried to get up in the 4th quarter, but it was way too late, and they were down 30-0 early in the 4th quarter and lost 30-16 just because Warrior Dak fought back at the end, and McCarthy let him try to get back up on that horse and ride a little bit and made it sound respectable when it wasn't respectable at all. It was another one of those NFL season, 2021 season shockers where you just say, what just happened?
Right.
You know, what caused this? Well, it's an aberration, because my team came right out against Atlanta and said, watch this. Atlanta had just won at New Orleans, and my team said, watch this.
Goodness.
And absolutely destroyed and dismantled and demoralized the Falcons. Poor Falcons, who have to turn around on a short week and play host to the suddenly...
Well, they didn't play Sunday, so they should be fresh.
Okay.
They didn't play Sunday. They showed up, but they didn't play.
Fair point. Well, I hope you're right about that. We'll see about that tonight in Atlanta, where they're 5.5-point dogs at home. The point is, at least this statement doesn't lead to overconfidence. At least he didn't guarantee victory at Kansas City. At least he didn't say, I'll be surprised if we don't win, right? So you got to give him that much.
Skip, you're the Cowboys. You're the most valuable team in all of pro sports.
Okay, so remember before the opener at Tampa Bay on that opening solo stage Thursday night, my owner said it's David versus Goliath, and I had no problem with that, because It was even worse than that. I thought my team had no chance. At least David won, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, I thought Goliath was going to win this one, and my team took him right to the wire, and it required the best of Brady goating at GOAT to pull it out with the walk-off field goal.
But don't you think that should have been your hallmark victory? You're beating the reigning, defending Super Bowl champs.
Okay.
Why not say that? Why you want to beat up on a poor 6-4 team? Skip, you do realize.
Obviously, nobody thinks that Kansas City is a 6-4 team. Nobody thinks that.
But
you don't think that.
Yeah, I do.
You do not? You've already told me you're leaning toward picking the Chiefs.
I am, but I also saw them beat Daniel Jones by 3 points.
I did too.
I also saw them beat the Green Bay Packers, minus Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers, by 6 points. And I'm supposed to be head over heels about that?
Yep.
I'm not.
Okay, so here's my problem with what Jerry said. To your point, it feels like you've sent a message to your team, it'll be a miracle if we win this game. Well, no, it won't, because my team already went to the Chargers and won. Yeah. My team went to Belichick and won in overtime, walked it off, right?
Yeah.
Wait a second. My team went to Minnesota without a starting quarterback in a Sunday night game and beat Kirk Cousins. I don't know how they did it, but they held him to, what was he, 1 out of 13 on third down? 1 of 13. Okay, so my defense did that.
Right.
My backup quarterback did that. My team is 3-1 on the road and came real close to, at GOAT, pulling off 4-0 on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot more confidence in my team than it'll be a miracle.
Right.
It'll be a hallmark.
Right,
It'll be like,
thank you.
It'll be shocking. And by the way, we're going to talk more deeply about this in a few minutes on this show, but if you look at this point spread, the shock to me is that in the Mahomes era, they have never been under a 3-point favorite at home.
Right.
And by the way, in that AFC Championship game against GOAT and Belichick, remember at Kansas City in the cold, they were a 3-point favorite in that game.
Right.
Well, right now, my team is sitting under 3. It's at 2.5-point underdog.
Right.
So you can say that in the Mahomes era, this is the best an underdog has been point spreaded, you know, like they're coming in with the most favorable point spread, even though they're the dog, but they're only 2.5-point dog.
But will you concede this might be the worst team overall that that Kansas City has had in the Mahomes era when you look at it from top to bottom?
I will concede that. And it has something to do with the defense, and it has a lot to do with Patrick trying to live up to his hype, where he just tries so hard to pull off a no-look or a left-handed pass or a behind-the-back or a between-the-legs or some spectacular highlight. And that last one that he pulled off, which became the dagger the other night that he throws to Darrell Williams, the running back, it was a classic interceptable ball, and he just hung it up for grabs, and the running back made the best running back catch I think I've ever seen in a game, to go up over Jonathan Abram and just snatch it. If we can see it right here. He's got, okay, I love him breaking through the rush, and I love his mobility, and then that's just a bad idea of a throw, especially to a running back.
Right.
If you threw it up to Kelsey, I'd say, I got it, because you think he can win a jump ball. If you throw it to Shannon Sharpe, I got it. I got it, but not to the running back.
Running back.
On some wheel route,
I'm surprised he even threw it to a running back.
Well, I
down the field that far.
Okay, but the running back, he says, has always been in his ear saying, I can catch. Okay, so... But
they all say that.
They all say that. Okay, so my point is, he dared the devil and got away with that, and he hadn't gotten away with a bunch of them this year. He's got 10 interceptions and a couple of lost fumbles. So, again, he's struggling to find his identity. Who am I? What should I be? When obviously he did a much better job at Raiders the other night. He took a bunch of checkdowns to the running back.
Thank you.
He took a lot of underneaths to Kelsey and let him just run with it, because he can really, he runs like T.O. used to run, with rage.
Great after catch.
Okay, so my point is, you have them in a vulnerable spot. They might have rediscovered themselves, but again, are you at least on level playing field with them? Yes, you are. You better believe you are.
But here's the thing, Skip. If you look at it, let's just say if Mahomes and Dallas are pushed offensively, I would give the nod slightly to the Cowboys' defense over Kansas City's defense. So Kansas City's defense, Skip, you know they hadn't been good this year. They really haven't.
They were better the other night.
Right.
Did they find themselves?
Right. It's going to be very interesting because if you notice, Skip, I had talked about this earlier. I felt they needed to kick Chris Jones back inside because so he can use his quickness.
Yep.
He's very, very quick for a defensive tackle.
Yep.
He's average quick for a defensive end. So put him back inside. Now, but you're putting him back inside with one of the best players. Zach Martin is not to be messed with.
Yep.
Now, I think they're going to probably get Tyron Smith back.
I'm pretty sure.
So
it will help a lot.
They'll be at full strength. Kansas City will need to play their best football game of the year defensively to give themselves a chance.
All right. So to your point, it's hard for me to go to Hallmark victory when Kansas City right now in turnover differential, it's the key. It separates men from boys in NFL every year. At the end of the year, you look at who won the turnover differential, right? Okay.
Who took it away and who didn't give it away.
That is correct. Kansas City is sitting at -8 right now, thanks in large part to the quarterback. That ranks 30th, just barely above the Jets and the Jaguars.
Okay. You don't want to be on any list with them.
You don't. And the Cowboys are +5 because they're second in interceptions, so they're taking it away at a high rate, and they just had 3 more against Matt Ryan and then Josh Rosen. But 3 against Atlanta, and that +5 ranks 6th overall. Okay, so 6th versus 30th, that just shows you the relative strength and accomplishments of these two teams right now. So that should tell you, and because my team has played, frankly, way better on the road than has played at home.
They have.
Okay, so I can't go Hallmark. I'm glad you planted a seed. You can't be overconfident going in there, but who was going to be overconfident going up there?
Right, that's still Patrick Mahomes.
It's still Patrick Mahomes, and the biggest point is it's still Arrowhead.
Right.
It's hard because nobody knows better than you how loud it gets in there.
Yeah, of course.
And trust me, the Cowboys inspire decibels.
Skip,
whatever records can be broken will get broken this Sunday.
But the thing is, Skip, also, is that it doesn't matter. When you got a historically great quarterback, even though Tom Brady might have not had some of the best talent in New England, you still feared him because he was still Tom. And Peyton Manning, even though he wasn't the same Peyton, you still feared him because he's still Peyton Manning. That was still Drew Brees. That's still Patrick Mahomes, who's just barely entering into his prime. So,
agreed.
Even though their record, but Skip, I mean, you're the Cowboys.
Okay.
You just told me you got them as the #1 power ranked team. That's what you told me the other day.
I told you my eye test right now would tell me they are playing the best.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So if they playing the best and that team ain't playing the best, and you talking about, you know, that's a Hallmark victory.
Although, well, you can argue they just played their best game, right? Did Kansas City just play its best game? That's a division rival on the road on Sunday night at Vegas.
Maybe against Cleveland and Baker. Remember that first game of the season? They were down 12.
Yep.
And we went to the Washington football team and did something bad to them, too.
Okay, but so how are you struggling at
6-4?
-8 in turnover rate?
Well, we don't. The defense doesn't take it away, but the offense has far too many times given it away.
Okay. Why is it that your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, grades Dak as the 7th best quarterback to date, just so far in this season, 7th best quarterback on sheer performance? Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is graded 21st on performance so far.
Let me ask you a question.
21st.
How many people you think Patrick Mahomes?
That's not the point. That's not the question. The question is performance so far, grade 21st versus 7th.
Okay, so what stat? He doesn't have as many touchdowns. He doesn't have as many yards. He doesn't have many 20-yard completions.
70% completion percentage.
You line fishing. You're not going to catch no bluefin fishing, shore fishing. You got to get out. You got to go deep sea fishing. You catch the big fish in the deep water.
Every time I look up, 88 is a deep fish.
No.
He's like a blue marlin?
No, he ain't no marlin. No. That's what that guy does. That's what that guy does.
He does. I give you that. And he is he's got nuclear capability. This offense has nuclear capability.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's got 3. And remember, just by fate, Michael Gallup just came back last Sunday, and all of a sudden, by fate, it forced CeeDee Lamb to move back to the slot.
Right.
He's lethal out of the slot.
Yeah.
He's hard to cover.
Right.
Will they put Honey Badger on him in the slot? I don't know. Probably. Okay. Maybe. Okay, we'll see.
You feeling really? I can hear it in your tone. I can hear it in your voice. You feeling really? See how you talking now? You're talking real big now. Look at you. I can hear it in your voice. Your voice got a little loud, a little high pitch. You talking about we got firepower. We got nuclear capabilities.
Okay, if we win Sunday, which I believe we will, it will be our best win of the year. But it won't be a hallmark. I won't look back historically and say there was the breakthrough.
That was the game.
Yeah, I won't. I can do it with the 90s Cowboys. I can go back and show you a turnaround game where I said, oh, they did that.
Yeah.
Right? At Philadelphia.
Look, can I give you a little secret?
Yep.
You're not going to win.
Not going to win? Do I smell Diet Mountain Dew? It actually has no smell, but I can smell it. It has an aroma to me.
It has something to it.
Yep.
You just look at it. Look how you sitting all tall, bouncing up and down in your chair like a kid about to get a treat.
The hallmark victory is going to happen only on this show, me over you.
Okay. I want you to see. You see how you perked up and all doing all that talking right now, smiling. I want you to have that Monday.
I cannot wait for Monday.
I always have it on Monday.
I cannot
We
wait
need a
to see.
seatbelt on
Now
Monday.
Teddy Turndown beat you.
The quarterback battle.
Yeah, you see how he turned down that tackle on that return.
Well, another one of Skip's QBs, though, that maybe hasn't been performing at that same level. Baker Mayfield, he has had, and you got to admit, a roller coaster season as Cleveland sits at 5-5. The Browns QB admitted that the year is taking a toll on him physically. Take a listen.
Yeah, this is probably the most beat up I've ever been in my career. And it's not like it's one particular thing, it's multiple. A lot of crime out in Berea right now.
I thought you called the ambulance for you.
I might have. I don't know. No, it's just that time of the year and things add up and just, a couple things after another. So it is what it is. And it's been tough, but I don't think anybody gives a damn. So, and there's no reason to get into that. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to feel bad for us. So it is what it is. It's all right.
It is what it is. Shannon, what is your reaction to what Baker said?
If nobody cares, why are you bringing it up? Ain't nobody asking you about no injury. Why you brought it up?
He got asked.
No.
Yes, he did.
It's kind of like you on social media. I'm on social media. You might post something. Nobody cares. Well, then why you comment if you didn't care? Clearly you cared. I didn't hear anything about this. The most beat up I've been after Cincinnati. I ain't hear none of that. Against Cincinnati, it was Odell. No Odell. Oh, everything was perfect. Now he beat to hell. Wow. Really, Skip? I fought Odell because in talking to Odell, he wasn't able to get everything that he needed out of Cincinnati. He still have some clothes, some furniture, a car still there. So maybe the remnants is still left is hovering over this team. The aura. That's what you guys say because Odell's the easy excuse. Because anybody that plays bad, Odell's on the team, it's Odell's fault.
Well, obviously, the Monday night loss, Odell's debut, it was Baker's fault, right?
No. I didn't blame that. No. The Rams didn't play well. You know they didn't play well.
Somehow Baker got blamed for
it. So a guy that's 25th in QB, because I wonder what Pro Football Focus, here's a matter of fact, Pro Football Focus, I ain't got to ask. Pro Football Focus says Baker Mayfield is 25th in QBR. That's behind Daniel Jones, Teddy Turndown, and Jacoby Brissett. Ooh, Skip. 8 quarterbacks on this list in QBR that's ahead of him. 4 of them are rookies. It's amazing. I kept telling you, just because you're the #1 overall pick, it doesn't make you great. He's very average. He needs everything. The Job effect. Everything around him needs to be perfect. But Job didn't need that because he was devout in his faith.
I don't get the Job effect, but
here's the thing. If everything is perfect, remember what he said? The devil told him, say, the reason why you gave Job everything, look at all this. Family, wealth, cattle, livestock, you give him everything. That's why he served you. Take that away from him. Baker Mayfield can be that as long as he got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. As long as the defense gave him 3 takeaways. Remove that and he will.
You realize Job won in the end.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
But he can't win without Chubb, without Hunt. Skip, the man got 3 all-pro offensive linemen. You told me you love Peoples-Jones. You love Jarvis Landry. You love Njoku. You love Austin Hooper and Bryant. You love all those. There is no Odell. There was no reason for him to play this bad. Don't bring up something that you said nobody care about unless you want somebody to care about him, unless you want a built-in excuse. Is that what he's hoping for, Skip Bayless?
No.
Is that what you want?
He said nobody gives a damn.
Why you bring it up?
You got to ask about it.
Hey, everybody's hurt this time of year. Ain't nobody ask you to tell me, well, I'm beat up. No, don't do that. You don't think Tom Brady's beat up? So what quarterback that's been playing all these games is a beat up? What player that's played all these games is a beat up? That's not unique to Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to let you let him off the hook like that, Skip Bayless.
I haven't spoken yet.
Nah, but you're going to let him off the hook. But I can't let you do it. So I'm going to put him back on. You know what? You just take the phone out. You know, phone used to ring busy. So you take it off the hook, can nobody get to the phone. I'm going to put it right back. Every time you take it off the hook, I'm going to put it right back on because I want it to ring.
Your phone must have been off the hook a lot.
It was off the hook because we couldn't pay the bill. But that's a different story, Skip Bayless. I'm going to put this phone right back on the hook.
Okay. I'm about to go off the chain on you. For all of the above.
We'll go off the chain.
I'm going to go bigger picture here. The most amazing thing about everything you just said is how it all reeks of Baker hate. I never thought I would see the day that Baker hate could transcend Brady hate, but it has.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know why it has?
Why has it?
Reason number one, relentless progressive commercials on television. Just when I thought they would subside or slow down a little bit, all of a sudden, now we got the Halloween and left the seat down in his house and the neighbors and what's the other one? Oh, the house sitter one. It's like every week there's a new one.
Yeah.
And just when I can barely take another Baker, what do I see from Nissan? What do I see? I see Heisman House. Well, I don't know how many Heisman winners we've had, hundreds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and who gets featured in almost every commercial? Baker Mayfield. Right. He's still the it kid. He's still 26 years of age, and somehow he caught the imagination of Madison Avenue. I don't really get it because he obviously hasn't proven it on the football field, but somehow, and I guess it helped that Progressive is based in Cleveland, Ohio.
Right.
But somehow they fell in love with Baker. And I got to tell you, I know how commercials work. They keep testing, and they keep getting high marks. Right. They are working. Baker Mayfield is selling insurance for Progressive. Yeah. Okay, so the problem is, if I were advised, I've said this 100 times, I'm going to say it 101st time. If I had been advising Baker, I would have said, I'm sorry, we can't do this yet. Even Lee Steinberg with Mahomes, he tried to hold it off for 2 years before he let it go, and now Patrick's doing it all. But nobody has the relentless commercials that Baker has, because when he's playing a game, every commercial, it's another Progressive commercial, right? Yeah. And it inspires hate because you get sick of seeing his mug because he's obviously acting and he's good at the commercial. I don't have any problem with how he pulls off the commercial. He's very natural in them.
He's better at commercials than football.
Okay, well, you can argue that. Okay. Now, I'll give you that. Even the Heisman House, he's in his bunk, rooming with Kyler, and he's singing Boomer Sooner in his sleep. It's just relentless because he's in every one of them. And after a while, subliminally, you despise it because you're just sick and tired of Baker Mayfield. And the only way he can stop the hate is to play. So he goes to Cincinnati without Odell, and they win 41-16. And he was really good, and he did have Nick Chubb before COVID hit Nick Chubb. And Nick got loose on a 70-yard run, and the defense played at a high level and took the ball away, and there was an early pick six that turned the game. I give you all the above. But they feed off Baker because one of the big reasons the Browns picked Baker Mayfield was that John Dorsey called him and Hugh called him, Hugh Jackson, the Pied Piper of Oklahoma football, because they went to visit and to watch him up close and personal in the off-season workouts. And as soon as the receivers walked in the locker room, they're all looking for Bake, because he's their Pied Piper. He's their leader. He's their instigator. He's their inspiration. And
you saw what happened? Yeah. When the Georgia Bulldogs took that running game away? What could Baker do?
Well, he got beat all to hell in that game. Okay, so now back to yesterday. He's damned if he does or doesn't. So how is he supposed to answer these questions? Because they're asking him, how hurt are you? Because they want to know, are you going to play on Sunday?
I feel fine. I'm going to play on Sunday.
Okay. So he tried that at first because his first answer was the nobody gives a damn answer.
Right.
Because they don't.
Okay.
He's exactly right. Nobody wants to feel bad for us. So it is what it is. It's all right. Okay. Period. End of story.
Okay, done with it.
Okay. And then relentless. They're back on you. But wait a second. You're listed with all these injuries. Can you play on Sunday? And he says, look, I'm pretty sore right now, but it's this time of year. Okay, that's fair. Everybody's sore, to your point. Okay, and then he says, one day at a time, but I'll be good. Probably the most beat up. He probably should have stopped right there, but he's just trying to be honest. Probably the most beat up I've been, multiple things, not just one.
So he's not beat up. He wasn't beat up after Cincinnati, huh?
Okay, so he sucked it up against Cincinnati, but you gave him no credit for that.
Well, suck it up now. Why you suck it up when you win 41-16, but now you want to cry?
Okay, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to educated guess that he's the most beat up right now of any quarterback who's actually still standing and starting games.
I don't think so.
Okay, he's got a fractured left shoulder on top of a torn labrum in the left shoulder. He missed practice the last 2 weeks because of a undisclosed foot injury. I don't know what it is. And then he hurt his knee. It's sprained. It's probably bad enough he shouldn't play, and he's going to suck it up and try to play again. And as Jarvis Landry said the other day, he is a tough man. I believe he is a tough man. It's no excuse, but you don't even give him any credit for saying, well, I'm just going to go. And look, what great quarterback has ever been at his greatest with no running game? You can argue Mahomes has been the best at it with no run game, but it's because they don't choose to have a run game. It's by default because Andy Reid says, I don't want to run it. I'm just going to throw it every time.
But here's the thing.
It's like Steph Curry. You're going to lead the league in three-point attempts. Yeah, you're going to make a bunch of them.
But here's the thing. When the other teams, Peyton Manning, I want Peyton to hand the ball off the edge. I want him to hand the ball off to Dominique Rhodes. I want him to hand the ball off to Jai. Because guess what? That means Peyton Manning doesn't have the ball. It's the opposite with Baker.
I know, but you got to keep the pass rush somewhat honest.
I want the ball in Baker Mayfield's hand. I don't want it in Nick Chubb's belly.
Okay.
I don't want it in Kareem Hunt's belly.
Okay, but so what happened to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl? The Buccaneers
They couldn't protect him.
Yeah, because they just said, you don't want to run the ball. We are teeing off.
Yeah.
Ears are pinned back. We are coming after you, young man. Let's see if you can withstand the onslaught. And he could not.
He could not. No.
Okay? Well, what has happened to your man? Walk it to him, Wentz. He's had a little bit of a rebirth.
You
He's
saw
starting
that,
to find,
right?
and what's happening right now? Is there any better, more effective running back right now than Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, you see him
Can
walking
you
to
make the case that Jonathan Taylor has put Carson Wentz back on the map? Yes.
You ain't want to talk about walking to him, huh?
Okay, I'm just telling you, he's a product right now of Jonathan Taylor. So if you suddenly go to Belichick and they have caught fire on offense and defense, we're going to talk about Mac Jones in just a moment here. The point is, you walk in the NFL, it's just like any other sport. It's really not whom you play, if I can be grammatically correct. It's when. Because if you had caught the Patriots on week 1, maybe you go up there and beat them.
Right.
Dallas went up there and beat them, and then all of a sudden they turned their season around. You were walking into the wrong place at the very worst time. Okay, you're coming off your big Cincinnati win, but all of a sudden COVID strikes as it strikes everybody. Like every day I see here another COVID update and somebody else is out. Okay, so now Nick Chubb is gone. Well, Kareem Hunt was already gone. So you're down your best 2 running backs going to Belichick. Good luck with that.
I'm glad you said that. You heard what you just said? You said Carson Wentz is a product of Jonathan Taylor. Now, I want you to admit that Baker Mayfield is a product of Nick Chubb and
Baker
Kareem
Mayfield
Hunt.
is better than Carson Wentz.
That's all I want you to do. And 85 is the answer. 85. How many
85
Heisman Trophy winners?
Yep.
85.
Okay.
Jay Burr-Ringo was the first one in 1936.
Okay. Somebody whisper that in your ear? Or you just
Why you?
whatever. It's fine with me. But the point is, it feels like there are hundreds of them, and they keep picking Baker.
Skip,
Why is that?
Why you do that?
I'm just asking.
You think somebody whispered that in my ear, don't you?
I don't know. Did you just pull it out of thin air?
Skip, I know.
Jay Burwanger. Okay. I got it. Okay, so of all those, and they all get featured occasionally in these ads, and they're kind of in a group, or they're in the background, or they're on the couch. Who's the it kid? who gets all the attention, even in the Nissan commercials. It's Baker Mayfield, who I'm the first to admit, who has done nothing. He has done nothing in the National Football League yet. He did win one playoff game. I'm going to give him that. But in the big grand scheme of things, he has done nothing. But I'm going to tell you one more time, because you went real silent last year for 11 straight weeks. I didn't hear from old Sharpe over there, because for 11 straight weeks, Baker was really good last year.
You heard from me. I said, what the problem that I have with you is that when they took off, you didn't want to give Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb any of the credit.
I give them credit. I give the offensive line credit. Why did I pick them to win the AFC? Because on paper, you can tear your paper in two if you want. On paper, I thought they were the best team, and I don't think I was alone with that.
Yeah.
Because they are. Now, they've been beat all to hell on defense, too. And Jarvis Landry is beat all to hell. And he's trying to go with a bad knee, and he looks about half of what he used to be.
Okay.
So the point is, I'm going to finish that they went 11 straight games without Odell after he got hurt at Cincinnati, and they went 8-3 in those games. And Baker got graded by Pro Football Focus over those 11 straight starts as the 4th best quarterback in pro football. That's top 5. That's special. That's Baker at his best with no Odell. And obviously, they're running and gunning. I get all that. It all came together around the leadership and the playmaking of Baker Mayfield, because he was no longer Odell-centric, Odell-focused, Odell-conscious. He spread the wealth, and he can do that really well if he's healthy. He's not healthy right now, so you have me and him on the run, and your Baker hate is spilling all over the table.
They know.
I get it.
Skip, I just call it like I see it. I mean, you don't want to see when Baker when they win and Baker plays well. You don't acknowledge Nick Chubb. You was talking about how Baker was pinging.
I brought him up. I'll never forget the Hard Knocks scene. He arrives at the Cleveland airport on Hard Knocks featuring Baker as a rookie. Remember that? And some Cleveland Browns fan is standing at the baggage carousel and turns to him and says, "You play for the Browns?" Yeah, I play for the Browns. Think he knows him now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my point. All I want you to admit is that Baker is a product of the system. He's not the system. Tom Brady is the system. Mahomes.
Now, wait a second. You just made a statement you've never made before. You just said Tom Brady is the system?
Yes.
Wow. You tell me he always needs help. He always needs...
Skip, I'm saying that even when the run game isn't there, Tom Brady can throw you to a victory. Can Baker Mayfield, when Chubb and Hunt don't run the ball, when they don't get 100+, when they don't run for 200+, can he throw you to victory?
Yes, he can.
When has he?
I told you last year he went 8-3 and went to Pittsburgh and beat an arch rival in a playoff game. A team that was 11-0 at one point. Baker went to Pittsburgh and won.
You know what? Next time
you give him no credit.
Next time I'm gonna grade what they graded Nick Chubb in those 11 games. What they grade Kareem Hunt in that offensive. I just want to grade Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb because I can assure you Nick Chubb wasn't too far behind.
I will take Baker's leadership intangibles over Carson Wentz's any day, night, any day, week, month, year. I'll take him.
He might be a better leader, but you won't win just many more games.
No mercy. Don't miss it. Your chance to win $30,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. The Thursday Night Football jackpot has been hit 4 times this season, and you could be the next big winner. So scan the QR code, download the app, answer 6 questions about the Patriots-Falcons game for your shot to win big. Don't miss out. It is free to play. After starting 2-4, Mac Jones and the Patriots have won 4 straight. The rookie quarterback leads all first-year passers in yards and touchdowns. And Hall of Famer Kurt Warner spoke highly of Jones, saying he is better than Tom Brady was in his first year starting for New England. How about that? Shannon, do you agree?
Skip, I agree. I think Mac is a little further along as a passer than Tom. Because, Skip, remember, Tom's senior year, he had to, he was splitting time with Drew. I think Drew Henson was the guy before he eventually beat him out and won the job. Mac Jones had just led Alabama. You can make a case one of the 5 greatest offenses, maybe one of the 5 greatest teams in college football history to a national championship. And so he comes in in a little bit more advanced state of throwing the football than, say, Tom. Now, Skip, very comparable. They're playing the same style of football. When you look at it, what did they want to do back then? run the football, minimize the quarterback's involvement, play outstanding defense. Tom Brady's first year starting 2001, Skip, the Patriots were number 6 in scoring defense. This year, 2021, they're number 2 in scoring defense. Tom Brady went 11-3 with 64% completion. Right now, Mac Jones is 6-4 with 69% completion. Tom averaged a little less than 190 yards passing a game. Mac is at 233 passing. So you can see, Skip, it's basically the same formula. We're going to minimize the quarterback's involvement. But when you play like this, Skip, there will become points in time in the ball game that your quarterback's going to have to make a big-time accurate throw. And both of these guys thus far, well, Tom was able to do it. We're going to see. Because I believe, and I said at the beginning of the year, I thought this team was good enough to make the playoffs. I was anticipating Cam starting the season, but I thought they were going to be able to play defense, run the football. And with the acquisitions that they made on the outside with Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, they would be pretty good. So I agree. I'm going to agree with Kurt on this, Skip. It's hard. For me, I hate comparing because the league is so different. You know this was so different then than what it is now. But I'm going to say he's a little bit more advanced as far as throwing the football and understanding, because now these guys come out, all they do is from the time they're about 11 years old, go to 707 camps, pick up these pro-style offenses. So I'm going to agree with Kurt on this. I believe he's a little better, a little further along as far as throwing the football, understanding of an offense than Tom was at the same point in time.
I cannot tell you how big a problem I have with what you just said and originally with what Kurt just said.
Okay.
I love Kurt Warner on NFL Network. This is not personal against him. I just believe he is so wrong and so off base and so out of bounds. And in the end, it is so offensive that he would take this shot at a Tom Brady who was
2001. No, 2001.
I'm sticking with 2001 from start to finish. And remember, it did finish with the Super Bowl.
So why didn't he start?
Okay, so here's what happened. Bill Belichick and his staff were on the hottest of seats. And I know one assistant on that staff told me around that time that he was ready to put his house on the market in Foxborough because they were falling. They had been 5-11 in Belichick's first year in New England. They started off 0-2 in that year, 2001. That dropped Bill Belichick as a head football coach in the National Football League to 37-58. 37-58. So he wasn't Bella-genius. He was nobody. He had been fired by the Cleveland Browns, and he was in grave danger of getting fired by the New England Patriots. Okay. 37-58, and out of heaven, a sixth-rounder falls into his lap because Drew Bledsoe got hurt.
Mo Lewis,
Jets, over and out for the rest of the year, all the way to the playoff game at Pittsburgh. And what happened? Brady comes in for his first start and turns the whole show around with his leadership intangibles, because the team bought into him right away because they just liked the way he commanded the huddle and operated the offense. In the first game wasn't sensational. They beat Peyton 44-13. Peyton was a young player at that point, obviously. And he just went 13 of 23 for 168. So that was sort of Mac Jones-ish in his first few starts. But I'm going to remind you, Mac Jones lost his first 4 home games this year. First, he fell to 0-4 at home. Really?
But you got to realize that he was a true rookie. Tom Brady was a second-year player.
Second-year player. To your point, he split time at Michigan, but he did get to finish because in the Orange Bowl against Alabama, it went to overtime, and Brady lit them up with the best game by far he played in college football. And it should have opened other eyes, but it only opened one scout's eyes with the Patriots, which is why they snatched him in the 6th round.
Correct.
Okay, in Brady's third start that year, just his third start in pro football, he went 33 of 54 for 364, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in a victory. As you pointed out, they proceeded to go 11-3 down the stretch of the regular season. He had 3 games of at least 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. At Indy, he went 3 touchdowns to none. At Atlanta, 3 touchdowns to none. Against New Orleans at home, 4 touchdowns to no interceptions. Don't give me Mac Jones. I don't want to hear one peep about Mac Jones because it's not a fair fight.
How many touchdowns did Mac Jones throw on Sunday?
Yeah, well, here's your best stat on Mac Jones right now, that almost 50% of his passes have traveled either behind the line of scrimmage or only up to 5 yards beyond.
So
only 50%. He has completed 87% of those passes, because you want to talk about dinking and dunking. He is dinking and dunking. QBR, he ranks 18th in the league right now, which is below average.
So what would Tom Brady? So here's the thing, though, Skip. That's the exact same offense that Tom Brady ran. Tom Brady threw for 189 yards per game in his first year starting. Mac Jones is throwing for 233. So how far did he throw the ball down the field if you're only throwing for less than 190 yards a game? You make it seem like this offense, yes, it's expanded, but this, as far as terminology and what they just...
Did Belichick have his mystique that year? No, nobody cared who Belichick was. He was about to get fired
But
again.
let me ask you a question.
He was about to be retired as a lifetime defensive coordinator. If he'd gotten fired here, he would have been nothing more than a coordinator.
But all I'm saying is that if you look at, it's hard, and I know it's hard for people to look at Brady outside of that 1 year, but if you look at the way they played in 2001 the very way they're playing now. And if you look at they ran the football, they tried to minimize the quarterback's involvement, hence Brady throwing for less than 190 yards a game.
Yep.
So, Skip, it's not a knock on the man.
Let's just finish off the 2001 season. Obviously, we have yet to hear the story told by Mac Jones, so we'll see what happens. But my problem with what Brady did is capped off by, if you look at that tuck rule game, as I called it, the snow job game, I was there in the press box watching from on high. And it was snowing cats and dogs, not raining. It was snowing cats and dogs. And nobody could play in the first half.
Because that was a Saturday night game, because we played Pittsburgh that Sunday.
You did. And we lost. And that's how New England went to Pittsburgh.
That is correct.
Okay, in the first half, Tom struggled because they were all struggling. Rich Gannon was struggling. It was 6 of 13 for 74 yards. Brady, as the story goes, told his receivers at halftime, you just catch the ball because I'm going to get it to you. And here they came. And in the second half and overtime, because it went overtime, he threw for 238 yards. In the fourth quarter and overtime, he threw for 138 yards in the driving snow and set up, obviously, Vinatieri. He needed help there with the field goals. And he kicked some of the greatest clutch, snowbound field goals I've ever seen. I don't know how he did it, because I thought the Raiders were Super Bowl bound because they were loaded with veteran talent. Gruden was the coach. Gannon was going to be the MVP the next year. But the point was, I thought they had Super Bowl written all over them, and they got robbed in the game. So Brady got a break. The dynasty got launched off a bogus call. But the point was, you got to see Tom Brady live and in living color right there before your very eyes. Nobody locked into it, but there he was in the tuck rule game doing that in the fourth quarter and overtime. And then with John Madden up in the booth saying, you got to shut it down at the end of the Super Bowl because you got a young quarterback and you don't want to put him in harm's way. They had the ball 1st and 10 at their 17 late in the game, obviously against the St. Louis Rams. Belichick's defense was extraordinary. That was his claim to fame. That was his marquee performance, was what they did. That's the denouement of Belichick's defensive prowess, was in that game against that team, the greatest show on turf. But Tom Brady, here he comes in that last-ditch drive. He completes passes of 5, 8, 11, 23. They keep going up, up, up. 5, 8, 11, 23, and 6 yards to set up a 48-yard field goal to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, he was extraordinary. As a first-year starter, it's hard to top this. And I pity Mac Jones that he's even getting thrown into the same sentence.
Think about what you said.
With Tom Brady.
You said on that last drive, Tom Brady had completions of 5, 8, 11, 23, and 6. That's 53 yards. Tom Brady finished passing that game with 141 yards and a touchdown. So let that sink in.
Did he not clutch it up?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying with the way they playing, I believe Mac Jones, and I think what Kurt is trying to get at, and I don't like speaking for Kurt, but I think he's saying that at this juncture, now again, Tom Brady was a second-year player. Mac Jones is a true rookie. Now, Mac Jones started from the jump. Tom Brady had a year to learn, study. And he started the second year on.
But to your point and to your credit, you called it ahead of the draft. You said he's by far the readiest to play.
Yes.
Why? Because he started 13 games last year and won the national championship for Alabama.
But Skip,
he got to play on big stage after big stage. This is not too big for him.
No, but you could see, Skip, the year that Tua got hurt. And he had to come in. And even though they lost at Auburn, you could see, and then in the game against Michigan, you could see like, okay, this kid can play.
Yep,
and then when they brought all these guys back, that's all I'm saying, Skip. The formula for the way they're going to try and win this year, defense, they're sixth in scoring, they're second in scoring defense. They were sixth in Tom Brady's year. They're going to try to run the football, minimize the quarterback's involvement. But like you said, in some of those games, he threw for 350, he threw for 360. He's going to have game. Now, I can remind you, after Atlanta, they got Tennessee. They got Buffalo twice, and they got the Colts. We're going to find out a lot more about the New England Patriots and Mac Jones over the next 5 weeks than we previously know.
Okay, and back to your point about running backs. I called this before the season started. I said New England stole Ramondre Stevenson in the 4th round, and if Belichick will let him, he will become a star. He got in the doghouse early because he fumbled early. You can't fumble for him because he'll just be, you're done for a while.
Yeah, you're too disposable.
Okay, but you saw what happened against Baker and company. He went 20 carries for 100 yards. He is that guy because he's about 250, and trust me, he can dance on you.
And then they got Damian Harris, who still runs the football, Skip. So that's the thing. And I think Kurt is just saying right now, if you look at Mac Jones and Skip, I would give it a slight nod, but it's hard to judge errors because the errors are so different.
Yeah. So it was different, and it's just the beginning for him. But right now, it's looking really good for the Patriots and their decision to go with Mac Jones.
No mercy.
Tonight on Thursday Night Football, Mac Jones leads the Patriots to Atlanta to battle Matt Ryan and the Falcons. It all starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Well, Kevin Durant scored 23 points in the Nets' 109-99 win over the Cavs, which helped wash away the bad taste of Tuesday night's blowout loss to the Warriors. Steph Curry dropped 37 in that one 2 nights ago, and got many people asking if he's the objectively better player than Durant right now. It had a lot of people asking, including maybe these guys over here. So, Shannon, would you rather have Steph or KD right now?
It's probably blasphemous for me to say this, Skip, but I'm going to take Steph because he's back being Steph Curry, the 2-time back-to-back MVP. He's on the early pace to break the record, which I thought was unbreakable, of over 400 threes. I think he's on pace to hit 444 threes, Skip. In the last 10 days, Steph Curry has 3 games in which he has 9 3-pointers or more. There are only 12 players in NBA history with 3 such games. Let that sink in for a second, Skip. He's done something in 10 days that only 12 players have done in their entire careers. Skip, it's just something about the 3-point shot. It's kind of like, I guess, the punt return or the kick return touchdown, Skip, is just so demoralizing. And that 3-point shot, I know KD is a 3-point shot. He got the mid-range. He can get all the way to the rack. Basically, Steph, Skip, is a 3-pointer floater. That's what he does. He really try to finish at the rim. Dude, 6'3". He ain't got no extraordinary. He can't elevate like Anthony Edwards, Skip. He ain't 7 foot tall like KD. But, Skip, there's just something to be said for a guy that's that size in the Western Conference, leading his team to the best record without their second best player, which is Klay Thompson and Wiseman. So for me, Skip, and I think the thing is, for me, another thing is that we're looking at Kevin Durant because he came off that injury. Many people, that's been a death sentence. That's been the end of their career. They're never the same player. But he's come back and he's been Kevin Durant. I don't see any ill effects from that injury. But we also remember, because last year, Skip, Steph came back and led the league in scoring, coming off a broken wrist in which he missed basically the entire season. So he came back, and granted, it was his left wrist, not his right wrist. But for me, right now, I think Steph Curry, I would take Steph Curry because he's what he does is more demoralizing to a team than what KD does. So I would take Steph right now.
I just hope we don't get struck by lightning sitting here on the set because that was utter, straight blasphemy. I'm going to use the Dak Mahomes argument that you use against me.
No.
Right now, what GM would take Dak over Mahomes? Well, none would. I wouldn't. I give you that. I think Dak is going to beat Mahomes because his team is better than Mahomes' team, and he's playing at a higher level right here, right now than Mahomes. But in the bigger picture, would any GM take Dak over Mahomes? No. Not even close.
No.
I don't even think one idiot out there, that some guy who's about to be fired would take Dak over Mahomes. Conversely, similarly, I should say, there's no GM who would take Steph over KD. They just wouldn't. We're 6'3". You're not a GM. That would be the one thing you're not. It's 6'3" versus 7 feet.
Yes.
It's 7-foot monster. It's the most unstoppable mid-range jump shooter we have ever seen against whipped cream Steph Curry.
Ain't no whipped cream.
It's whipped
There's
cream.
substance to that.
Every couple of nights, he'll have a big shooting night, and it'll be Steph-tacular. And everybody overreacts to the three-point shot because it has become the shot. It used to be the slam dunk, and that has been rendered completely obsolete.
It's only 2 points.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? It's just another ho-hum tomahawk slam, whatever, you know, right?
It's a layup.
Okay,
now.
it's now a layup.
Yep.
But Steph, he invented the logo three, right? And he pulls up just inside a half court, and he made another one. Way to go. Well, guess what? He's making 45% of his threes. Sounds pretty good. It's the second lowest of his career. That's how great a shooter he is. But guess what? He's taking a career-high 13.4 threes per game. That's 3 more a game than your man Buddy Hield is attempting for Sacramento.
Right.
3 more a game? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he is just running away with the three-point attempts in this league because he's got the greenest light in the history of basketball shooting the ball from 3 because his coach loves him just the way Andy Reid loves him some Mahomeboy. Because Andy Reid wants Mahomeboy to be his extension. I selected him, I found him, I picked him. Watch this.
Right.
He's going to throw it every down. Who needs to run the ball when I got this kid? I want you to try anything you want to try. And similarly, Steve Kerr's like, and Steve played and was a very good conventional three-point shooter and free throw shooter. And he's like, that's my guy. He's an extension of me.
Okay.
Just shoot it whenever you feel like. There's no bad shot for Steph Curry. I get all that. But this all sprang from the fact that these two teams played head up, nose to nose, even Steven basketball, all the way to halftime. When was it Steph who took the game over? No, it was Andrew Wiggins who made back-to-back threes at the end of the first half to suddenly give them a 5-point lead. They were down a point with 33 seconds left, in large part because Kevin Durant was being Kevin bleeping Durant.
And Skip, you made this thing yesterday about Kevin Durant was being Kevin Durant. And Steph Curry matched him point for point in the first quarter. And Steph Curry outscored him in the first half. And then what happened in the second half? You say that's when the money gets made.
Thank you. Andrew Wiggins just kept on keeping on because he comes right out of halftime and makes 2 more shots, and all of a sudden they're down 9. And Kevin Durant's saying, God, I got to go. I got to push. Steph's on fire. They want this worse than we do. Obviously, is there not a Kyrie cloud hanging over this team right now? They don't have Kyrie, but even worse, it's the cloud of Kyrie.
You still got James Harden.
Okay. Do you really?
Yeah.
Does he resemble anything near the MVP James Harden that we used to see?
27, 10, and 7 last night.
No.
Can I interest you in that?
Here's what I can interest you in is Kevin Durant came right back out back-to-back against Cleveland and Cleveland came in 9-6, so they're pretty good.
Yeah.
And he said, watch this. And he made 7 of his first 10 shots in the first half and scored 19 by halftime, and that's all. It was over.
Skip. But you make it seem like I'm saying that, like, Kevin Durant is a bad player. I'm just saying right now. I ain't saying moving forward.
Okay, but it's all springing off what happened at Brooklyn the other night when
Has he not been good this season?
The Warriors fans took over the arena. I've never seen anything like it. There's melees in Brooklyn about this team. There's like a Kyrie hangover effect where the Brooklyn fans, again, as Chris Broussard said on the show yesterday, there aren't that many of them to start with.
Right.
It's a small contingent.
Yeah.
And so they can't.
They're not Nets fans. They're Kevin Durant fans.
That is
They're
correct.
James Harden or Kyrie Irving fans. They're not Nets fans.
So Barclays is not exactly a Nets stronghold, so they can't defend the fort.
Right.
You know, all of a sudden, here comes Steph.
Right.
And the tickets are available.
Right.
And it wasn't Nets fans turning on Kevin Durant.
Right.
It was Warriors fans procuring tickets. Because everywhere I looked in the crowd, there were Golden State jerseys, and a lot of them were Steph,
of course,
obviously. And once he got going, they came up and took over the decibels in the arena. it sounded like a Golden State home game.
And plus, Skip, also, when you have that many fans and all of a sudden you're beating the home team, the home fans are going to leave. So all those fans are going to get closer. They might have been up there at the top deck, Skip. Right. Now they're going to come down, and now you're going to really be able to hear them.
So I'm sure it was hard on Durant's psyche. So in the third quarter, he comes out and says, God, I got to go, man. So could we see what started happening? Because he started forcing. He said he started rushing shots. He did not look himself because he wasn't shooting with any conviction or authority or rhythm. And he was just
Man, give Draymond some credit.
Okay? I do. And by the way, there's a lot of box and one going on. There's some triangle and two, but a whole lot of box and one. And he just got off and stayed off.
He just had a long night.
He went cold and got colder.
Yeah.
And
that's a shot he normally, he'll make that shot 7 out of 10 times.
In his sleep. This is the one I thought, that's money.
Yeah.
No, short. Everything seems short. And then that one, he couldn't get a hold of the ball and almost missed the rim with it. And these are 8 straight misses in the third quarter alone. When do you see Kevin miss 8 shots? He doesn't. He's the most efficient scorer in the history of basketball. We've never seen anything like him before.
Now, you do realize when Klay Thompson comes back, a lot of the shots a lot of the threes that Steph is forcing will be wide open because you got 2 marksmen that can pick you off from any location on the court.
I got it. Are you guaranteeing they're going to win the championship?
I feel very comfortable. I think I might have had the Warriors do. I think I might have. Did I have Steph or Giannis being the MVP? I don't know, but they're going to be a tough
I think we have some Shannon Sharpe Memorial revisionist history going on.
I told you.
I didn't hear anything about Steph Curry.
You better recognize Steph. He might be my new face.
He's your new guy?
No.
Shannon Sharpe.
But I like Steph. I like
Curry.
Steph.
Okay, so what happened in the third quarter? They got blown out. And how many threes did Steph hit in the third quarter in the rampage by Golden State? How many threes? He hit 1.
That was a dagger,
He hit 1. It was a dagger. And then he sat for the last 5 minutes of the third quarter, and they went on an 18-5 run.
It cost me a case, too.
It cost you a case because he got to 37, and you said 40.
You should.
Thank you, Steph.
Let that sink in for a second. You should say, you know what, Shannon, you went out. You like to talk about going out on a limb. I went way out on a limb.
40 for him, as much as he shoots?
Really?
Yeah.
Really, Skip? So that's where you are now.
I still got Kevin Durant. Every GM's got Kevin Durant. And I even hear now, Steph's the better leader. Maloney, he's the better leader. Did you see what Kevin did with the Olympic team? Would we have won the Olympics, the gold medal, without Kevin bleeping Durant?
We'd ask Steph.
Huh?
Well, I mean, Skip. I mean, you got to really Skip. You got to Skip. You got. I mean, only Kevin Durant was one. Kevin and Dame was really one of our two of our top 10 players.
He gagged
don't
2 free throws
Dame into the mix here. That's going to start a whole different discussion that we don't have time for.
Finally,
no mercy. The LeBron-less Lakers were handed a 109-102 loss last night to the defending champion Bucks. Giannis scored 47 points while Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook were held to 37 points combined. King James could reportedly return tomorrow against the Celtics, which is good since the team is right now 3-5 since he's been out with the abdominal injury. We're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, why haven't the Lakers been able to win without LeBron?
Well, look, and I already know where Skip's going, and probably Shannon too. And the easy and sexy answer is to blame it all on Russell Westbrook, right? He's turning the ball over, throwing it all over the place. But last night, 19 points, 15 assists, only 3 turnovers. He played a solid game. Frank Vogel called it his best game since he had been there. And I like it, a little bit off the ball. When THT is handling it, that'll bode well for when LeBron gets back. But I'm going to look. Russ has been a problem a little bit, but I'm just saying he's not the whole thing. I'm looking at Anthony Davis, too. All right, Anthony Davis started the season like he wanted to be in the MVP discussion. But he doesn't seem like he really wants to carry that load every night, which he needs to do when LeBron is not there for sure. And if you look at their last 3 losses, Minnesota, Chicago, last night against Milwaukee, he's only averaged 20 points and 8 rebounds in those games. And more telling, he's only averaged 12 shot attempts in those games and 6 free throw attempts. So, I know some teams are doubling him in the post, and he's got to move the ball when that happens. Some of that happened last night. But he also needs to be more aggressive. And I look at Giannis and juxtapose those two. Last night, Giannis said, this is my game. It was close in the fourth quarter. Last 3 minutes, Lakers are within 6 or 8. Giannis has back-to-back three-point plays. He was more aggressive. So AD's got to step up in games like this when LeBron's not there and be more aggressive. I could talk about Melo. Look, Melo's been nice for a role player. But now without LeBron, he moves up a notch in the pecking order, and he can't do it every night. Last 5 games, he's averaged 10 points a game. So if he's just a role player off the bench, LeBron, AD, Russ are scoring, he's fine. But if you need more from him, you can't count on him every night. And finally, guys, I mentioned Giannis going off late, or really all night. Defensively, the Lakers have been top 3 the last 2 years. This year, they're 15th. Small, quicker teams like Chicago give them trouble. And last night, they couldn't stop Giannis, who obviously plays big. So those are the reasons that they're struggling. And obviously, LeBron answers a good amount of that stuff.
Yeah, and your second answer was what we, Skip and I both went to. But for me, I thought LeBron being out, we know no one influences winning quite like LeBron James. His team wins 66% of the time. When he's there, they only win 36% of the time when he's not there. So that has something to do with it. But I went with Anthony Davis because we think Anthony Davis is a top 10 player with top 5 talent. And when LeBron James is on the court, it's okay for AD to be a top 10 player, a top 10 talent. But when he's removed, when LeBron has been removed, Anthony Davis can no longer just be a top 5 talent. He needs to be a top 5 player. He needs to say, you know what, because that's the reason they got him. They say as LeBron James starts to age out and we start to phase out, now it's Anthony Davis' time. We need that AD that was averaging 28 and 12, the guy that averages 27 and 11. That's what we need on a nightly basis. The only difference between Giannis and AD is because I believe AD is just as skilled, just as talented as mindset. Anthony Davis does not bring the same mindset on a nightly basis that I'm going to dominate you tonight. I'm going to dominate you every possession. I'm going to dominate you on both ends of the court. That's what Giannis said. Giannis like, you know what? Man, we struggling. Holiday is sucking it up. Middleton just got back. You know what? I'm a 2-time MVP. I'm a finals MVP. Let me show why I got this award. And he goes give you 40-79. Anthony Davis needs to take that mindset, Chris, that says, you know what? Not only am I a top 5 talent, I'm a top 5 player. And we see, you mentioned Milwaukee 18-9, Minnesota 22-8. Chicago, he was ejected, 20-6. But against Charlotte, 32-12. Against San Antonio, 34-15. You remember down the stretch last year, Chris? They played Phoenix, and he dominated Ayton. I think he gave him something like 37-15. Played Nikola Jokic, Joker. Dominated him. That's what they need. And this is why they got Russ, Skip. If LeBron is injured for any length of time, if he takes off, we got 2 superstars. You should be able to win with 2 superstars, regardless who you surround them with. Look, Russ is Russ. But AD is in his prime. AD got to give me, when LeBron is out, I expect him to give me at least 30 and 15 every single game that LeBron is not there with him.
My turn. I am shocked to the point of being appalled that the Los Angeles Lakers, who are more fakers right now,
there you go,
are 8-8, and 12 of those 16 games have been at home. What? You've got Westbrook and AD to hold down the fort, and you're 8-8, and 2 of your wins with LeBron playing came against Houston at home in virtual back-to-backs. There were 2 games in 3 days. And Houston is now 1-14. That's 2 of your wins. That was with LeBron, who went 4-2. Wow, that's horrible. Well, doesn't the GM, the real GM, LeBron James, deserve some blame here because he handpicked AD, he handpicked Russell Westbrook and said, I want him and I will move heaven and earth to get him out of New Orleans and I don't want to hear another peep about Buddy Hield. I want Russ. And LeBron, highest IQ in basketball, although I begin to doubt now his GM capabilities because he chose two very flawed players. Because we all know AD, as gifted as he is, too often has a low motor. Am I right? Last night he was low motor all night. I can't explain why. You just got to push his button. Maybe LeBron can push it a little better when LeBron's on the court, but he's got too low of a motor, and Russ has too high of a motor.
Right.
Because Russ plays constantly out of control. In the end, Russ is nothing but a solo act of a stat machine who is the worst superstar jump shooter we've ever seen and who is going to lead the league in turnovers once again because he's pulling away in that department. LeBron chose him. Culpable. LeBron chose AD. Culpable. And last night, Russ did play his best game. And it helped what? It didn't get them anywhere because they were in position to maybe steal this game on the road against a Milwaukee. Still doesn't have Brook Lopez, still doesn't have DiVincenzo, only playing for the third time with its big three together on the court at the same time. And what happens down the stretch? The Lakers missed their last 16 three-point shots. That's hard to do. 5 in the third and all 11 in the fourth.
Right.
And their body language to me was like, we don't have the big guy. We don't have our main man. Save us, LeBron. That's what all their body language was. Like, we can't do this without our guy. He's in year 19, and more he's getting nicked and knacked. And it's just what happens when you've played the third most minutes in the history of professional basketball. And I'm going to knock on wood for him. LeBron's going to come, we think, by Friday off his ab strain. But he's had groins, and he's had ankles, and God bless him. Who knows what little knick-knack injuries he's going to have down the stretch where you need to fall back on your other big three, the other two members of your big three, and they can't win these games that are begging to be won, even that game last night. So pretty soon you're going to have seed problems because you're going to fall to the bottom of the seeds.
Well, Chris, I believe ultimately this is why they went with Russell Westbrook. While Buddy Hield might be a better fit, LeBron James doesn't play. Buddy Hield and AD is not going to probably win you the games that they thought Russell and AD could win. But it doesn't look like hell.
By that, you would think so. On paper, you'd say two slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famers. Really?
But Chris, I need AD to give me more. AD, you can't tell me AD is not just as talented as Giannis. It's just his mindset. He can shoot better from the field than Giannis. Now, Giannis has turned himself. He looks to be shooting the three a little bit better, Skip. He got to the free throw line. He made, 8 of 11 last night. 6 of 8 in the fourth quarter. Yep. But AD's got to have the mindset that says, I don't care. I'm dominating this game. I'm dominating every play.
By the way, he used to be decent from three, and he has fallen down.
Yeah, he's dropped off a cliff. He's dropped off a cliff.
Man, he can't smell it.
Well, look, let's face it. At one time, not that long ago, AD was ahead of Giannis.
Yes.
And now, it's not even close, really, at this point. And you're right, Shannon. If AD had the mentality we're talking about he needs to have, they may not go get Russ. Maybe they feel like, you know what, with AD dominating, Buddy Hield and the rest of the guys would be enough to win. And look, this is why some people, including myself, felt that it was premature to put Anthony Davis on the top 75 team. Because I don't think he's got the title, but he won, one playoff series in New Orleans?
Yep.
And he doesn't bring it he should have taken off last year after winning that championship and taken the torch from LeBron.
Yes.
I think LeBron wanted that.
Yes.
He didn't do it. It looks like he's not doing it this year either.
Not at the moment. It'll be interesting when if and when LeBron gets back. Chris, we appreciate you very, very much for your time, always.
No mercy.
Matt Jones is set to take center stage for New England tonight on Fox, but former Patriot Rodney Harrison thinks he could have wound up in San Francisco on draft night. Mac slid to number 15 overall, while the 49ers were picking at number 3. But Harrison believes Kyle Shanahan and company fell to, quote, public pressure to take the more athletic Trey Lance. Shannon, do you agree?
I do. Skip, because, we thought it was a foregone conclusion. Everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion. And I think what happens, Skip, when you move up to select a quarterback in the top 5 and you give up what you gave up, you look at Mac Jones, He doesn't have measurables. Doesn't have a strong arm. He's not very big. He's not athletic. He's not fleet of foot. He doesn't have a normal size. Skip, he's just average. You don't select a quarterback. You don't give up your future for an average. You look at Trey Lance. He can run. He's athletic. Big arm. Oh, man. And then you look at Mac. You say, hold on. Skip, is he really that good? Or is that Devontae Smith? Is that Jalen Waddle? Is that Najee Harris? Is that all those Leatherwoods and all Evan Neal and all those first-round offensive? Has he reached this ceiling at Alabama? And then you're like, hold on. Trey Lance, he don't have none of that talent. And look at this. Look at that. And you talk yourself out of taking Mac Jones, and you go Trey Lance because he has all the measurables, and you say, well, he didn't have any of the talent, because you know how people think. Well, anybody could do what Mac Jones did at Alabama. Dude had at one point in time had 4 number 1 receivers, had 3 first-round offensive linemen, a first-round running back, and the greatest college coach to ever coach the game at his disposal. So you talk yourself out of it, Skip, so I can see what Rodney is saying. Mac Jones was the logical choice for them. And I've always said, Skip, in the West Coast offense, you look at the guys that played it. If you look at Joe, you look at Steve, they didn't have no strong arms. The West Coast system was about getting the ball out quick, making the right decision, being pinpoint accurate. Yeah, as we've gotten, Elway played in it and Favre played in it, and they were really the big arm. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a cannon, Skip. Patrick Mahomes has a cannon now. But for me, I think Mac Jones was good enough, had enough measurables to go to the 49ers and do what he's doing very similar. And the Bay for the Niners is what he's doing in New England.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You're saying that the Shanahans, your coach Mike and his son Kyle, who is the head coach of the 49ers, and they work jointly, obviously.
They do.
You're saying they made a huge sort of career-threatening mistake. They took the wrong quarterback.
Well, Skip, we won't know. I just felt that coming out, I've said this before. I said I believe Mac Jones is the most ready to play, and of all the quarterbacks that they have to play, Mac Jones would have the better, considering where he's going and considering the coach and what they're going to put him in. Now, we don't know, could Trey Lance be the guy? But I just believe, having been in this system for 7 of my 14 years, Mac Jones is plenty good enough, arm talent enough to play in that system. Skip, they make it seem like Jimmy G is Kyler Murray. Jimmy G ain't got no big-ass arm. He can't run like Lamar Jackson.
He's got a bigger arm than Mac Jones.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's plenty big. How many windows do you think Joe Montana could throw with a football and break?
You know what? Stronger than you think.
Skip, he got plenty good enough arm. Plenty. Plenty good enough arm.
It's below average at best. That's what it is. Below average. And slowly but surely you'll see that as the stakes rise and the pressure and expectation rise.
No, that won't be his arm. That would just mean that he might succumb to the pressure, but it ain't gonna be because of his arm.
Almost 50% of his passes so far have been thrown behind the line of scrimmage or no more than 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Right. And he's completing 87% of those dinks and dunks. Well, and that's more power to Josh McDaniel and to Coach Belichick.
Well, maybe they should do that.
They just said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to play this. We want the ball to come out very quickly and very shortly.
Well, they might better do that with all the rookie quarterbacks. Because you see how they turning the ball over and putting their teams in harm's way? Maybe you should build out.
Okay, would you take him over Trevor Lawrence right now? Mac Jones over Trevor Lawrence?
Skip, I understand when you look at ceilings, and that's what they look at when they look at these guys. They like Trevor Lawrence, 6'5", 6'6", big arm, athletic. Skip, he has everything that you're looking for. He's everything. When like I said, Skip, to trade up, if the 49ers stay right where they are, guess what? They're going to get Mac Jones. If you stay right where you are, you're going to get Mac Jones.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. But they didn't. They plunged. They went up because they said far more upside is Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remind everybody, he played at North Dakota State.
Right.
And last year, thanks to the pandemic, he got to play one game.
Right.
They only played one game during the pandemic at North Dakota State.
Right.
Mac Jones, meanwhile, was playing 13 big stage, high-stakes games for Alabama and Nick Saban.
Correct.
With all those luxuries around him. I get that, all that weaponry, but it didn't matter because you said he was the readiest because he was.
Yeah.
And he stepped right in at New England. It was old hat to him. It was second nature because it's not any more pressure than he was facing
At
to
Alabama.
fill Tua's shoes at Alabama or any quarterback before him shoes at Alabama. So all of a sudden, Trey Lance comes in, and Jimmy G is still pretty good, and they knew they had him.
Right.
And they were trying to work in Trey Lance as sort of the Taysom Hill at the first, and then he broke a finger on his throwing hand.
Right.
So he's been out and out of the picture so far. You're ready to write him off completely?
No.
I get Rodney Harrison because he's an expatriate, and all the expatriate greats get sick and tired of hearing it was all Tom Brady. So what are they going to say? Well, we got the next Tom Brady. And by the way, we still got Coach Belichick, and we still got this defense, and watch what we can do.
I don't know if you got the next Tom Brady, but I think the thing, Skip, they see a lot of similarities. They see the way they won games with Tom early in his career. They see Coach Belichick is still implementing that system of how they're winning games. But I just think, like I said, Skip, we won't know. We're going to be 5 years in before we can able to determine, okay, that was the right decision, that was the wrong decision. Now, we know when you take this many quarterbacks, over half of them gonna be done, Skip.
Okay. The great irony of what Rodney is saying is that everybody wants to get into this, I need an athletic quarterback. I came up in this business through the era in which nobody wanted to draft a black quarterback.
Nobody wanted an athletic quarterback.
Completely around, and they're saying, we don't want that unathletic white quarterback at Alabama. We need a black quarterback who can move. We need mobility as well as a bigger arm, right? Well, Trey Lance is all the above. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall, and he goes about 225 pounds, and I don't doubt slowly but surely he'll be 230, 235 as he stays in the weight room. He is a gym rat. He is a film studier a la Brady, and you got to give him a chance because he started one game so far, got thrown into the fire. Do you remember where it was? At Arizona, as Arizona was coming off dismantling the Rams at Los Angeles.
But here's the thing, Skip. Let me ask you this. If you got Trey Lance, how you think they're going to use him? Just like they used Jimmy G. You saw what Jimmy G did on Monday night?
Okay, but what did he do in that one start against Arizona? That was the hottest defense in pro football because they had just gone in there and done a number on Matt Stafford and company at SoFi, right? And Trey Lance goes 16 rushes in that game for 89 yards. That's pretty good. That's 5.6 a pop. He didn't throw it great, 192 yards. It was okay. But the point was, you're going up against a supremely athletic, fast defense that's featured. Remember, JJ was still going, and they were on top at that point. They were. A lot of people thought it was the best defense, and it was at Arizona. That's your only start so far. Do you realize what Kyle and Mike together can do with Trey Lance in this running offense? They can devastate you. They can demoralize you, especially if the quarterback becomes another running weapon, But
that's the thing. If you look at Jimmy G, what did they do, Skip? A lot of his throws was Deebo Samuels running after the catch. George Kittle running after the catch. So this is a very similar situation. You mean to tell me you don't believe Mac Jones could have done that? Skip, I get it. If you just look at the tape, it's hard for me to believe that people believe that was Mac Jones throwing people open as opposed to Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith and Najee Harris. I think they gave them more credit than what they gave Mac Jones. Mac Jones was unbelievable, Skip. He was pinpoint accuracy, the greatest college completion percentage of the season in NCAA history.
Last quick point. I really appreciate what Chris Trapasso does for CBS Sports because he grades the quarterbacks pre-draft and then as they start in the NFL, and he really breaks down the tape and the film. And his takeaway on Mac Jones is, when you watch Jones the way he does, the lack of upside is as overtly apparent as the keen ability to get the ball out accurately and in a hurry. So he's saying he gets it out very accurately in a hurry, but the more you watch, the less you see on upside. Can you go win it all with him? Can you do what they did in 2001 with Brady, trying to keep him under wraps as just a little game manager,
He a bunt cake. He a bunt cake. He ain't got no tears to him. You don't got no nuts, and you ain't got he just a bunt cake. A good plain pound a regular bunt cake. But it's good, though. You like bunt cake, right?
Like, it's still good, but it's not that good every single day. Interesting analogy, Shannon.
Matter of fact, I'm going to have a piece when I get home.
Congratulations.
I'll take lunch right now.
No mercy.
Lakers and Clippers fans are getting a strange gift on Christmas Day. A Staples Center is going to be rebranded as the Crypto.com Arena after a record-setting naming rights deal. So, Shannon, the arena has been known as Staples Center since it opened in 1999. How hard will it be for you to stop saying Staples?
Very. Because when I hear Staples, I don't think about the office supply store.
I don't either.
I think of the building that they play basketball games and they have concerts in, Skip. So, but I'm hoping on crypto coming in the Crypto.com Undisputed. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, that's
what I'm hoping. Yeah, sure is. I'm sure hoping that. Skip, sometimes you just have building that's iconic. The Broncos have had Invesco and they had Sparks Authority. It's mile high. The Superdome. You got Mercedes-Benz. You can put whatever name. It's the Superdome. And I'm afraid it's gonna be big crypto just like they got Staples up there, but it's gonna be hard for people to all of a sudden. Skip, they still do not call where the Cowboys play AT&T. They call it Jerry's World. That's what it's, Skip. That's what it is.
I believe Staples became the most iconic arena in pro basketball, superseding Madison Square Garden.
You think it's bigger than Madison Square Garden?
Just because the Knicks have been so bad and they continue to disappoint as we speak, right? So they've never lived up for so many years to that arena.
Correct.
But the Lakers have almost always lived up. And I covered so many big Shaq-Kobe playoff games there that I forgot, oh, yeah, it's named for an office supply company. Who knew? Because just the name Staples, it had Hollywood mystique to it. And Crypto.com, it's just hard for me to say. And then I joked on Twitter last night, the way the Lakers are playing, it's going to be known as the Crypt, as in rest in peace, right?
Yes.
So it's got that going wrong
but crypto, if y'all looking for, get your name on some other things.
Really?
Undisputed, where it's at.
Really? Yeah, you got your fingers in lots of tills.
We try to get this thing going, Skip. We looking for sponsors to come on with Skip and Shannon.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. How much was the record-setting deal? Maybe we should get involved.
$700 million over 20 years.
Ooh, okay.
We just take 10% of that.
Money
That's all
talks.
we want.
Love Crypto.com.
Five.
Right?
We do 5. Do 5% of that.
Just not sure it's going to catch on.
We are hours away from kickoff of Patriots-Falcons on Fox, but could Mac Jones and company actually have a Super Bowl in their future? We're already jumping to that conclusion. Don't go anywhere.
No mercy.